we're
I've
live.
done is worthless.
Now we're live.
All right.
Welcome, everyone. All three of our fans. Thank you for tuning in to officially episode 1, I guess.
Yeah, episode 1.
So, yeah, what are we? Episode 0, then episode 1. And this is the one with slightly better cameras and slightly more prep.
Yeah, and that's saying something because I feel like after watching that other video, you could see the grain.
Yeah, I do. I genuinely feel like the grain is gone. Like, comparing it from that to now.
Yeah, I was also briefly mentioning how my dress code has gone down.
I mean, same.
I was in a vest and dress shirt. Now I'm in this
T-shirt. You can see your dirty
once we
coffee
establish, mug. Yeah, once we establish the dress. Oh, you can see that? All right.
I made Cat D-Day, where all these cats are constantly going on the beach and getting splattered. You just hear your own sound effects. Look at all the splattered blood. Look at all the blood I made. It splatters in different ways. I'm like, oh. I was like, oh, I made this.
I made a BMI calculator. Mom's proud of me. That was the most interaction I had with anyone. Like, there was like 60, I think, comments, because I went back and looked. Of just people just talking about how fun it was.
Wow, let's just keep wanking you off the rest of this day. How's that
Come
sound?
on.
We're foremost as experts on this. Cops are great. They're always nice to me. Let's move on.
I'm like your god figure. I was like,
all right, and here you go.
That came out weird. Anyway.
CBS is a hellhole that will drain you and your family and drive you to terrible things. I am going to fail all of my classes.
I hate Dave Brown. Gouge food.
Yeah.
Like, do I shoot him?
I
don't know. He's yelling.
Yeah.
I'm
just in casual Game of Thrones shirt, you know, trying to rep the new show.
Oh yeah, new show. Good stuff.
I wish you would watch it. I really do.
Oh, I will. I think that's on the docket.
So is how many other shows I've recommended.
Yeah, so in 10 years I'll get to it.
That's fine.
I
respect it.
Oh man, so I've done some prep work.
All right.
You just saw my whole face light up because I'm pulled open Notepad. Is there a dark mode on this?
A Notepad? What, with black background and white text?
How long has it been edited? When's the last update to this program?
Notepad, probably a while.
Probably a while. All right. Well, should we just get started? And
I mean, that's what the go live button is for. So.
All right, so we're gonna restart.
Okay.
All right, so we briefly.
Welcome to episode 1. Starting with Josiah. Get us going here.
All right. I think the plan we're aiming for is, since both of us are lazy, we're gonna try to have one of us kind of make a few prep questions. And then the other one kind of has the day off kind of thing. And then and then the next, and if this goes horribly wrong, then we will reevaluate. But I have not a question, but kind of a talking point.
Okay.
So we mentioned this briefly in our last episode about Scratch and that program. And I have a feeling it's not a very well-known thing.
Oh,
Maybe it is. But it's basically like, what is Scratch?
Man,
and why?
Scratch.mit.edu. Did you get me into it? Is that how we started?
I really don't know.
I don't even know how Scratch started.
Like, thinking really hard, and I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Which one of us did that?
Well, so to skip past that, Scratch. Ah, man, such good times. It is a children's game programming website. Where it is just, what is that called, like node programming, or what would it be? Like, basically you're just taking blocks that will say, you know, start, forever if, and it's like all these different
statements.
All the if statements, basically putting together, you know, if W is pressed, move 10 steps, if S is pressed, move negative 10 steps. And we spent years on that website making games.
Dude, the last time I actually made a game, I think was last year. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I didn't know you were still on it.
I hopped on there because I was feeling some inspiration, and I mean, we tried to learn Unity. We did like 3 core.
No, we didn't.
We bought.
We stuck with
All
it
right, we
for
did
like
more
a
than
month.
3. You're right. You're right. We bought a Udemy course because it was on sale, and once we actually started learning how to make games is when we stopped.
Yeah, we learned. You're right.
hard,
We
and I was
learned
like,
the we learned the basics of Unity, and then we actually learned how
Hello,
to start
world.
applying it, and then we're like, ooh, and then we quit. No, you know what it
Yeah.
was? We quit that because Rounds came out. Just so you remember. But anyways,
oh yeah, you're right. Well, what was the one thing? Because Bethany came down and she was really mad. She's, if I hear that word one more time, what was the word like where we kept going over that lesson multiple times? It was some instances or something. I forget.
I don't
forget, but
remember.
it was,
Dude, I
it drove
remember.
me to insanity.
I remember nothing about the programming. Nothing about it.
It's all gone.
It's
We're gonna
all
have to go back.
100% gone.
But anyway, so I walked back to Scratch and made like a little proof of concept idea, and it was actually pretty good. It was pretty.
You know, maybe you
You
could
ever
show me
wanna-
about this. Did you actually try to put like menus into it with like buy
Yeah.
phases, stuff like that?
Yeah, and for whatever reason, I feel like we kind of had this competition going, you know, because we briefly mentioned it last time about how I made fun of you because you stole scripts or something. I don't even know. If you stole
I
them.
never stole scripts.
You were just doing research or something.
Yeah, I've researched scripts and how to like actually like all I wanted to know how to do is I wanted to stamp an image but do it within certain coordinates so that it would be perfectly aligned on a grid. And I looked into how to do that, applied my knowledge, and then I got bullied by a 9-year-old for the next 2 months.
Yeah, and you were 7, right?
Yeah, I feel like I was literally like 7 years old doing this. And all the comments are from you. You didn't make this. You stole that. Stolen script. And I'm like, okay, my friend is really helping
Everyone
me out
else
here.
is like,
Yeah.
oh, I shot you down so hard for,
Yeah.
and I was so, that was like the one thing I prided myself in. I was like, you know what? I've slaved over these things, and the games I made were significantly worse. I would say, like that
feel
one
like-
you made that was really cool, like how you did the it looked like Qbert. Remember that? Like it made it look like it had perspective,
Yes,
like
yes.
3D.
Yeah. But
And
it wasn't
I was like,
really
I
a
didn't
game.
even know how he did that, and I was like, "There's no way. I know who he is.
I
There's
know
no way
what
he
is.
made this."
Yeah, this is the different like worlds we lived in on that website. I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna make a BMI calculator. I'm gonna make little stamps. You'd be like, I made Cat D-Day, where all these cats are constantly going on the beach and getting splattered. And you just hear your own sound effects.
Dude,
Such good
dude,
times.
you brought back a memory though, because do you know why it was Cat D-Day and not regular person
Why
D-Day?
is that?
Well, because I did make a regular D-Day and I got banned.
Really? You got
Yeah.
banned? Did your whole account get banned or just your?
Nope. Dude, so I went through this phase where it was like I was like obsessed with violence. I don't know, like just
Oh,
seeing
okay.
no, not well,
All right.
not like to that point, but like I was looking through some of my, and I'll get to this later, but I was looking through some of our old notebooks. I was a kid, and Bethany was like, "Who drew this?" And it was just a massacre of like these stick people, black and white and red.
You know, that's funny that you say that because every game you made on Scratch was gore. Like it was just gore related. You're like,
Violent.
you'd be like D-Day. You made a gladiator game where you're just like, you're like, I just remember you like being like, look at all the splattered blood. Look at all the blood I made. It splatters in different ways. I'm like, oh, I was like, oh, I made this.
Yeah, I made a BMI calculator.
Yeah, I was like, look at this.
Mom's proud of me.
My parents were proud of me. I used to show them stuff on that all the time.
I
I'd be
never
like,
showed
"Look,
them what I made.
dude.
Never showed. I was like,
You're
they
like,
would
no.
not.
Oh,
Their
dude,
cup of tea.
imagine. You should show them
But
now.
yeah, well, I went through this phase where, like, I made all these violent games, but they always got removed. Like Scratch.
It's a
like
kid's
once they remove
website.
one- oh, but what was unfair though is you can see this if you go back and you see like the places I followed, like the people I followed. There was people who had violent games on there that were not being banned. It was because like they made full games and they weren't being banned, but I did like proof of concept stuff, you know, like D-Day. And what's crazy about that is that game just blew up. Like that was the most interaction I had with anyone. Like there was like 60, I think, comments, because I went back and looked, of just people just talking about how fun it was. All right, you don't trust me. All right, we're going
It was
Scratch.
like 12. Yeah, if you want to look it up, it's what? Harry I Beamer is your profile. Mine was what? Monster Man 27 or Mon Man 27. I don't remember.
All
You're
right,
looking
dude.
this up right now to just check how many
All right.
comments you had.
Dude, it's crazy. Username was Harry iBeamer. Password was. Come on,
Come on, come on, come on.
baby. Baby.
It
Here we
is.
go. Here we go. All right, ready?
Yep.
What the heck?
Oh,
This guy. Dude, you know how many people remade my D-Day? Look, here's one. He just remade one. They like saw my game and remade it. How crazy is that?
How many years old is this now?
Let's see. D-Day. Dude, are you ready?
Mm-hmm. Well, you
51
can't.
likes, 48 favorites. This is sad. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dude, the comments just go. I have to click on load more.
Wow.
Dude, I have to click on see more replies twice.
I love how you're still getting dopamine hits from something you made 10 years ago.
Oh, dude, what's crazy though is this is like one of those games I put so much effort into. And like the one you mentioned, the Gladiator D-Day or Gladiator one where I was like, look at all the blood. Here, I'll look it up right now. Like one of the things I was bragging on about it, I was like, here, let's see. It's the first project I think I released.
Just for context, what year did you put these out? I just want to think how old we were.
So Gladiator Battle 2010.
2010.
Do you want to see how I bragged this up?
All right.
Hard to make. Oh, I must have deleted it.
Oh, you got embarrassed?
Yeah, well, because I remember when I first put it out, I said there's over 30 death animations, and it's like literally I just took the vector image and just split it in half, put it down, split the head off, put it down,
and then different sound effects.
And I'm like, it took about 1 to 5 hours to make.
About 1 to 5.
Dude, and I responded, here it is. I have never downloaded a single game, and therefore I've made all my games from scratch.
Is that in it? You can still see that?
Yeah, that's what I posted on every single thing I made.
And you posted that for the sole reason of you thought I cheated on the one that I made.
Getting to you, yeah.
That is...
Dude, because it had the ability where you could download someone else's game and see how they made it, right?
Yeah.
But I chose not to because I was better than you, apparently, in my mind.
Yeah, I think you're still holding on to that. At some point, you're still like,
no, I think,
that's so depressing.
We went our ways.
We went our separate ways. I still want to get back to Unity. I want to try to actually commit.
Dude. I feel like making games is in our blood though, because like this was so fun as a kid.
Oh yeah.
Look, I made so many games. I made so many weird games, so many D-Day violent games. I made this like blood generator that people used.
Oh.
But yeah, like if we go to D-Day here, it'll tell me how many people repurposed it. Remixes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have to click on view all to see how many people used it, and then they included it in their studio projects. So like people really loved this game, and this game didn't get banned. Well, actually it did. It says this project has been removed because it's too scary for our website. Crazy, right?
It's been 12 years, and you're like, we should make a podcast so I can talk about this.
Yeah, and it's not the end of the story because last year I was bored and I was downstairs in our restaurant, had the day off. I was on Wi-Fi, and I sent the Scratch team an email. I was like, I was like so arrogant about it. I was like, you need to get my project back uploaded.
You did not.
I sent them an email. They haven't responded.
You did not. A year ago?
I did. Yep.
From 11 years ago, you said this project was removed over a decade ago.
I was
Please
like,
reinstate
World
it.
War II. You can't Hitler and erase history. You can't just burn history.
You can't whitewash our history.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You did not. You genuinely sent an email to Scratch support.
Yeah, isn't that petty?
I cannot believe.
But I remember spending just days. I remember coming home from whatever the crap I did as a kid, and I would just sit on the computer, and Dad would be like, I need to use that, and I'd be like, okay, and then I'd wake up in the middle of the night and just add things to it. It was crazy.
Dude,
tons of fun.
I used to have I had a dollar notebook, like one of the little ones I got from Dollar Tree.
Uh-huh.
And right when you were really into it and you were just pumping out games and I was like getting a little bit jealous, I literally had that notebook and I can remember one of the projects I had written down. It was based on this iOS game and I would be like, I had all the notes on how I was going to make the game. It was like frog-based game about jumping between lily pads. You can hatch new frogs and multiple different colors. I can remember doing all this as a
Harry I.
kid.
Beamer's game,
Yeah.
where it has one color and one lily pad.
I was like, I had all of this stuff written down, like thinking I'm gonna make a game. I'm gonna make a full Scratch game.
Dude,
I never
we gotta
did.
go back to this and check it out, just see the old crap we made. Because here's another one that got banned, Frogman. And the picture of the game, maybe this is why they kept getting banned, is just covered in blood. But this guy says, "Man, you really like gruesome, bloody, and gory games."
He called you out on it.
Then this guy says, 412 kills. I'm remaking your game since every time I think of Scratch, I go back to this game. Your game is pretty nice. Even now, I still think it's pretty fun. A remake doesn't have a death effect, but blah, blah.
Wow, let's just keep wanking you off the rest of this day. How's that
Come
sound?
on.
Go, go.
Anyway, yeah, I wanted to include that point. So at the
Do
beginning.
you think you
know?
peaked at 13? Is that what you're saying?
Definitely. I don't think there's any question about it. Bethany would probably say the same thing. Like, you were cool?
Used to be cool? Man. Yeah, I think I should
Do
be
you remember
cool.
any like games you made that were like, do you have any games that like got any attention? Or
No,
was that just me?
I
Toxic.
I don't know what it was, but I never actually uploaded actual games. I
Yeah,
had
it
them
was
on my
more like
computer.
experiments.
Yeah, like remember when I
Okay.
tried to make like 3D, like moving through hallways, just using different
That was
images.
cool. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
cool.
I made like one where it was images, where if you press forward, because you couldn't do 3D in Scratch, it was only 2D. So
Mhm.
I made images that would make it look like you're walking forward in 3D when you use like WASD.
You were thinking outside the box.
And I remember, I remember same thing. My description for it. Okay, you know what? You convinced me. I should go back and I'll just read some of the stuff that I wrote when I
man.
was 11 years old.
It's
Because
so good.
it's just so embarrassing. I had such high hopes for myself. I'd be like, this is just a proof of concept. I'm planning to release a full game within 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was just reading through this, and this guy said, "When's the next update?" 4 years ago. Oh
man.
my gosh.
Oh, there it is.
bro.
Monster. Yeah, ready? There it is. 3D. In parentheses. No title. Beta. Arrows to move. Click to
Beta.
shoot. This is a beta of what
Beta
probably we'll
gamer.
be making. I need suggestions on 1. Title. 2. Menu. 3. Ways to die. How enemies should die. 4. Guns. 5. How enemies should move. 6. Make projects of what enemies should look like. Please comment. Top comment. It doesn't work. Oh, you were
Claps.
nice. You said cool. Oh. All right.
I'm like your god figure. I was like,
All right.
this is
And here you
good,
go.
man.
Here you go. All right, everyone ready? Just a 3D block building test 11 years ago. I don't think these were your scripts. 3 years later, 3 years later, you corrected it from were your scripts WHERE to WERE. 8 years later, why are you still using Scratch?
I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm like, that's the only platform I can do well on.
Oh, I
'Cause
can't
there's
believe
children.
it.
That came out weird. Anyway.
My top one is my BMI
Dude.
calculator. It has 175 views, and someone
You
said,
can bet
"Wow,
174
epic."
of those were me.
Just keep going back. You're
Like,
like, he stole this.
How did he do it? How did he do it? But dude, I'm kind of ticked though. All my really good games I'm proud of are removed.
Because they were gruesome.
Yeah, but one of them isn't that bad. It's called Western. And it's literally just a dot of blood when you die. But it's like,
It's why.
I think I was on their radar because like I was like, they're like, school shooter. He's the one.
I don't think.
He's
Did you
the
make a
one.
single game not gory in some way?
I made a few that were kind of just proofs of concept. Like this one, it's like a guy who eats apples or something. But yeah, if not all these are bloody. Yeah,
Wow.
it's kind of crazy. I should show you them sometime. You know, reminisce.
No.
It's crazy.
No.
So much fun.
I know.
You're like, absolutely
I told you
not.
we should really work on Unity. We really should try to focus on it and see if we can just make something simple.
I would love that. Yeah.
Can't be
Crazy.
too bad.
Yeah. I have so many ideas, and I feel like Scratch just helped me. You know, just I'll come up with something that's not bloody. You know, I'm sure there's something I can think of.
Man, what good
Crazy.
times! 11
I know.
years
I had a
ago.
blast. I used to like study other people's games and be like, how did you do it? And then
And
I
you could just
refused to open up the project and look in the files. Like, I will never do that. I'm not Mark.
I'm not Mark.
I'm not SKUZZ.
Man, I can't believe you still accuse me all these years later.
I know. I've got another topic. Have you heard? I think it's already come out now. The Last of Us remake. Have you heard anything?
I could not care less. I've never played any of them.
Don't you have them on your PS? Didn't you have a PS4?
Didn't I sell
recently?
it? I sold my PS4.
Okay, because you had Last of Us, and that was the reason I wanted to borrow it so Bethany and I could play it.
And then I sold
I've
it.
always wanted to play it. Yeah, but anyway, like they're making a remake for it, and I think it already came out, and all the tweets were crazy about it. Like people were they're like, oh, here I got to show you some of them.
Take your time looking it up. For game.
I had it open.
I don't even like.
I must have clicked out.
I don't even understand what Last of Us is about. I've never been interested.
It's a zombie thing, yeah. But people are pissed because apparently, I mean, Last of Us was made in 2013, which is like 10 years ago. It's not that bad. But they remade it in a remaster.
Yeah.
And now they're making a remake or whatever. And so like people are like, I hear they're making another Last of Us. Let's hope this one really is the last of them. And like,
so,
all these things, people are so upset.
So this is now the third one.
Yeah.
Have you
they have
actually
The Last of Us Part 2.
Have you actually played through one yet?
I have not.
So
I watched a playthrough for like half of it. So I have a pretty good idea of what it's like, but I've always wanted to play it.
So I'm going to take a view. I'm going to take a step back and look at this conversation from outside. You brought up a game that neither of us have played. You're like, I have a topic we should talk about. How do you like FIFA 03?
I've never played it, so
neither have I. Let's talk about it. But no.
I just thought because like we mentioned briefly about not in our podcast, but before about how Last of Us 2 like kind of plummeted because it wasn't what people expected. I remember I think it was you who we were talking to because they killed off one of the main characters right in the beginning that made The Last of Us special. So like that kind of reminded me of that, and then I saw something pop up this week about it. So I was like, well, we'll see what you know.
I know. All I know.
Good topic. Good
the
stuff.
only thing I
really
know about it
one.
is PewDiePie played it. There was a horse. The horse died. They like shot the horse. Only thing I remember.
Yeah, I remember watching when PewDiePie started that, so I watched that. Anyway, do you have any interesting cop stories?
Wow, that is a jump from.
What are your views on the law enforcement?
Wow, so now
you take your time, sir. I'll just sit back.
Now it's a politics. Okay, interesting cop story. All right, so am I supposed to say interesting cop stories? Or am I supposed to bash the police for 10 minutes? What do you want from me? I feel like, while dancing on the line right now, that YouTube and other forms of media, they like to show me what I like to see. And I love seeing cops do stupid stuff and they get called out for it. So those videos keep getting recommended to me. Therefore, I feel like it has changed me even further negative towards cops than I was before. But I think for
that's an interesting take. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, because that's what happened. I originally was like, man, I can't believe that cop did that. Watch the whole video. And then all of a sudden, TikTok, YouTube, everything just pours on and keeps showing me more and more about it. And I'm like, wow, every cop is bad. And I don't think that. I do think that, oh man, this is like such a deep topic to talk about right after talking about
it's interesting though, yeah.
But
yeah, a game we've never played.
Yeah, game never played, and now cops, something we've never had to deal with being white.
Yeah, so, really, honestly. I think that's why we're great to talk about this.
Yeah, we're foremost as experts on this. Cops are great. They're always nice to me. Let's move on. No, I'm just kidding.
No, they're not though. Remember that story you told me? You were left stranded on the street.
Cops are the worst. I totally forgot about that.
I was trying to organically bring that story up through you, and you just had no idea.
I forgot how much I hate
I love
Maryland.
the story.
All right, I
I
hate
need to hear it.
Maryland PD. That is just, maybe it's not every cop, but everyone in Maryland.
Yeah, I think that's a good view. You're like, I was in Maryland, the cops sucked there. Instead of saying I hate all cops, I hate Maryland cops.
At least, I mean, there's probably more
Yeah.
cops that I hate, but specifically
yeah.
Maryland. Yeah, we were driving down the road, heading back from Maryland, and yeah, some random guy came out of the right lane, cut across us on the highway. We hit him. We're stuck on the side of the road with a totaled vehicle, and these just like dickhead cops, like, don't give us the time of day. They just like walk up, yeah, well, it's probably 50-50 fault. Okay, they go back to their car. It's like, after half an hour of us being there, they're telling us how we need to get an Uber. We need to get an Uber. Like 25 minutes from anywhere.
And what time is it? Wasn't it like nighttime?
It was probably like 11 o'clock or later. Probably at this point. It was at least 9.
Uber's gonna be like, oh,
yeah,
time to...
yeah, can you drive 25 minutes to come pick us up from the city? And we said we can't get an Uber. And they go, well, I don't know. Don't know what to tell you. They go back to their...
I don't remember. Was it snowing? Sorry, not to interject again.
No.
I feel like in my mind it was snowing, and I'm like, wow.
You put together a whole story in your head.
Yeah, I'm like...
No, it was...
Okay,
like
continue.
I said, yeah, let me talk, please. Thank you. No, it was just cold. They didn't care about us at all. The tow truck driver showed up, and basically, first thing he asked is, okay, how are you guys getting out of here? And he went and talked to the cops, came back to us and said, the cops said because, this was their reason, it said because of COVID, we aren't allowed in their cop car with them. They said, yeah, they said, oh, because of COVID, they're not allowed to drive with us.
Let me look through the rule book real quick.
So we're stuck 25 minutes away from anyone, no way to get anywhere. And the tow truck driver, bless his heart, fought the cops for us and basically said, either you're taking them or I'm going to make them all get back in the car that's totaled, and I'll tow it with all of them in the car, which is illegal and super dangerous.
So did they shoot him right there?
No, they basically told him he can't do that. And
in my head, I see him getting shot.
No, they're like, you can't do that. He goes, well, I'm going to have to take care of these people. And then the cops ended up giving in, and they were like, okay, fine.
I'll support the local
and they didn't
people.
Even, and you know what's funny? They didn't even, I don't remember exactly what happened, but they didn't even go all the way to the hotel. They like stopped. Oh yeah, I remember this is the best part. They wouldn't take us to the hotel. They only would take us off the closest exit. So
why? What are they doing that night?
They're just hanging out. There's just 3 cops hanging out. And they said they took us to the closest exit and left us in a parking lot. And the tow truck driver...
I didn't know this.
I can't believe I forgot to tell you this part. They left us in a parking lot, and the tow truck driver waited with us. Okay?
What a guy.
So all 4 of us, tow truck drivers, just hanging out, talking about tires, talking about what he does in his free time, waits for an Uber to show up that can take 2 of us. The Uber takes 2 of us. He takes the other 2 the rest of the way to the hotel.
What a guy.
He was the best.
He was a better cop than those
Dude,
cops.
He was like, oh yeah, ready for this? You'll love this part. So once all this is taken care of, and the next day, it takes a while to end up finding a way home, but once we do, we have to go see his car like one last time, get everything out, and the car is just in the back of a lot, and he is just in the corner in a camper, just hanging out. And he's just like, how you guys doing? Whatever, talking to us. We have a bunch of, I think it was like Bud Light seltzers or some drink, like alcohol in the car. And rather than packing it all up and bringing it back with us, we just left it all with him. And he was just like, we like tipped him a bunch, and we're like, you want all these drinks? He's like, I'll drink them. He was like the nicest guy. But
what? Like when I think of cops, I think of like for the people, I'm here to protect the people, not just, sorry guys, you're gonna have to find your way home. Wait, are you the police?
That's why I'm starting to lean more. Like, I don't want to say fully defund the police, but I like the idea of completely, I guess, like separating their tasks out. I don't know if it's Seattle. I don't think it's Seattle. I can't remember where exactly it is, but what they did was essentially reduce police funding and use that money and put it towards like an alternative force where it is like social workers, people who can deal with like the mentally ill, and 911 callers like essentially dictate who is going to respond. So if
Oh.
it's someone who's mentally ill who needs help, rather than sending a cop who might end up shooting the guy because they don't understand, they'll send these people who are trained for the situation.
He's like,
So.
do I shoot him?
Do I?
I don't know. He's yelling.
But,
He won't get on all fours.
yeah,
Dude,
I feel.
you're right though. I think when I first got Reddit, every video I got, it's like they automatically thought I wasn't conservative.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is strange because like the things I did follow, they were like, oh, you must hate the police. So here's some, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I was like, I don't hate the police, but I do now.
Yeah, I was like, and it's tough. You're right.
Yeah.
It's like there are good cops out there, but I think overall, like just seeing the evidence, like there's piles of videos of just people getting shot because someone's on a power trip or whatever. But there's tons of videos of cops being good too.
Yeah.
But it's tough.
I feel like we have to I do think it's important that we maybe start separating police from politics and saying, like, at the end of the day, it's just a job that they're completing. And if their job is as important as it is, armed, and they can kill freely, essentially, there needs to be better training, and they need to be held to a higher standard. I mean, like, for example,
100%.
Two of the guys at my work are some of the most conservative people I know, and they hate cops. He, like, the one I would have never thought, he was just he was like, a cop came into the store, and he was like skittish around him. He was like, cops have been nothing but rude to me and my family. He said, I've had problems. He said, I do not like cops. I'm like, man, I never would have guessed that.
Dude, that reminds me of a story.
Oh boy.
I have a lot of weird cop stories because I've interacted with more than I probably should. I think I've told you some of these.
Yes.
But the earliest one, I remember his name, Dave Brown. The most basic.
You remember
name.
his name?
Yeah, Dave Brown. That was his name. And like from the day I got pulled over, I was like, I hate Dave Brown. So I'll tell you what he did, or I guess what I did. So it was like I was going to the Guardian soccer practice.
Oh, I remember.
Remember? I think this was when you decided to join.
Yep.
Like our last year or something. My last year, or maybe second to last. I don't remember. Whenever you're allowed to drive. And I was driving on the highway going to practice. And wait, maybe I was coming back. Oh,
no,
yeah,
you were going. No,
I was on vacation and I was coming back because we were at Rock Mountain.
Yeah, you were. I'll tell you, I can remember part of this. You were coming to practice because I remember I greeted you and said hello, and then you were like shook. So
I was like, let's play soccer.
Yeah.
Yep. But it was when this new rule was issued where you have to move over into the other lane when you're passing an emergency vehicle, whether that's an ambulance, a fire truck, a cop. And so what happened, I was getting onto the highway and the cop was like right off of the ramp on the right and I couldn't get over. Like cars were just piling through and I had my indicator on. And so I was like, I could just stop, but I feel like that's kind of a hazard because going from a stop to 65 is difficult, especially in the crap I was driving, my parents' car.
Yeah.
That thing, they always told me they're like that Suburban wasn't the best. But anyway, so driving that onto the highway. So I was like, okay, instead of slowing down and going 0, I will just slowly drive by this cop. What could go wrong? I do that, and then I look in my mirror, and he's just like he's like running into his car, and then he was like, he pulled me over, and he was like, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" I said no, and then he was like, he told me, he was like, "You almost hit me with your car." I was like, I wasn't even near you. You were like on the other side.
Dave Brown.
But and then I instead of going to court because I was terrified because I had no idea. I was like, well, I'll just pay the $200 fine.
200. Did you get your license suspended, right?
Yeah.
Till you turned 18.
I think it was like 3 weeks.
Yeah, you were
4 weeks.
right about to turn 18.
Yeah. But I was like, what the heck? I was driving slow. I was like, what else do you do in that scenario?
Be better.
I guess. Yeah. that was the equivalent of get good. That's what the cop told me.
Throws the ticket in the window, get good and washed away.
Goes out, gets hit by a car.
Yeah, you always fight it. You always go to court.
Yeah, that's what someone told me after, and I was really upset that I didn't.
I mean, I have another cop story then. I told you.
Good, keep them coming.
Yeah. The one where I went to court was I was just freshly driver's license, probably like first few months being able to drive on my own, and I
You were
was
white
driving.
knuckling the steering wheel.
Oh,
still.
100%. And I was driving to Cortland. And oh man, it was so to defend myself a little bit. There was a semi truck, and I was passing it, and it started going downhill. And rather than just sitting on the left of a semi truck, I accelerated because semi trucks are scary.
Yeah.
Well, I accelerated going like 86. So I also did that right past a cop.
It's
And
the passing lane.
it's a dude. The cop also was a dick. Don't know his name, but I
always remember their name.
The second I look left, I see him. He's turning on his lights. I pull over immediately. I barely even gave him room to get behind me because I was like, oh, he's gonna pull me over. And as I roll down the window and I go to explain to him what happened, he goes, "Stop! You were going 86," and walks back to his...
I was like, "Hey, sorry, bud."
Yeah, I was like, "How you doing, sir? I am so sorry. The truck was..." And he goes, "Stop! You were going 86. I'm going to grab you a ticket." And the speed versus the
Did you
speed
show him a
limit.
boob?
I did not flash a titty for the boys. So
okay, I was really hoping.
I fought it in court. By fought it in court, I mean wrote a very nice letter to the judge and then went shaking in my boots. Because going that fast is 5 points on your license. 6 points gets your license suspended.
Wow.
So yeah, it was like 2 miles an hour faster and I would have been screwed, or 4 miles, something like that. So I went to court like to do something, like basically plead, and I was like sweat pouring out of my armpits, terrified of the moment. And I go up to I finally get called up. The prosecutor is like, the speed you are going, you'd be getting 5 points on your license. You're 1 point away from having it suspended. I'm like, okay. And she goes, if you plead guilty, I can do no points. And I go, okay. So
okay, Dad.
Yeah, okay. Then
Start crying.
The judge calls me up to the stand and looks at me and just keeps doing this. He like looks down at his paper, looks at me, just squints, looks down at his paper, looks at me, squints, and goes,
I hate this job.
He's like, how do you plead to a broken muffler? I'm like, guilty?
What?
Yeah, I said, guilty? He goes, $70 fine. Boop. And I walk out of there.
It was supposed to be a $200, right?
Oh, more than that. It would have been crazy. The kid before me went through a stop sign and he made him do all this extra training. It was like $300, and he just goes, $70 fine for a broken muffler, makes up some bogus ticket so nothing goes on my record. I pay it on my way out. He even ready, you'll love this. I'm already working. Like I have a decent amount of money. And he goes, do you need to split the payment up? Like saying I can pay a little bit now and then pay more later. I was like, I'll pay it today. $70, walked out of there, never looked back.
Holy cow.
Did
you just go alone or did your mom
I went alone. I went alone at 18.
Holy cow. I was just scared. Like I had no idea how the law worked. So I was just like, you know what? $200, whatever.
Dude,
that was a lot of money.
I wrote a letter to the judge and they just returned it to me. They didn't say anything. I wrote the letter to the judge. I said guilty and wrote a letter. And then it was like,
wow.
It was basically like, no, it just sends a letter back, and then I have to go and deal with all that.
That's incredible. Yeah. Bethany and I, when we were in Clark Summit, we were driving and we got pulled over, and the cop, he came in, it was like nighttime, and he came in with his flashlight. And
oh,
he was
like, told me about this.
He was like, man, you have any like pizza in the back of your car? And I was like, what? And then he said, there's been a pizza robbery. And I was like, is this a prank? Because I didn't know what was happening. I was like, Bethany, what the heck? I was like, is this guy going to shoot? Is he going to kill us? Then he said, what's like, if I opened your trunk, would there be pizza in there? And I said, I guarantee you there's no pizza in the back of our car. And he's like, okay, good. Because we're looking around. It's out of state because her car was from Indiana.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, some out of state people just robbed a pizza store. And at first you hear rob a pizza store. You think, oh, they stole money from a pizza. No, they stole pizza, I guess.
And and that's the cops trying to chase them down.
But here's the issue I'm thinking about. I'm like, what is the amount of pizza worth calling law enforcement?
Yes.
Right, that's stolen, and then worth the cops actually going out looking for it. Like,
and actually
how much pizza has to be stolen to be considered. You know what? We need the cops for this.
I feel like more
'Cause-
than can fit in a car. I
Yeah,
feel like
'cause
more than
I'm
can fit in a
thinking-
trunk.
Because even in our restaurant, because there's been a few times where people just walk out with food and they don't pay for it, and we're just like, whatever.
Now, hear me out. What if it wasn't in boxes? What if the trunk was full to the brim of just soggy pizza laying on the ground just in the trunk, and there's
Or just
100
pizza
pies.
dough.
There's dough, 100 pies worth of dough in the trunk, and
He
it
just
was
runs into their freezer, grabs all their speed racks, and he's like, ugh!
Man, what about
I
the
don't
other
know.
one? What about the one where you actually? I think you had Sayla at the time, and the cop like was shining his light in the.
Oh, dude, I forgot about that one. That one was like right here. We were driving home from worship team practice, and we're like in the middle of this like ritzy ditzy town, 30 miles an hour. There's like one light kind of deal. And like I was just driving, and we were gonna turn right, and I was like, I'll just go straight. So like then we went straight, and this cop pulled me over. He was like, "Are you drunk, sir?" And I said, "No, I'm not. We just came back from worship team practice. I was just going home." He said, "Looked like you had some indecision back there." And I was like, "Well, I was gonna turn right, but then I decided to go straight." And then he was like, "Hmm." And then I was like, "There's no one here. Like it's a 30 mile an hour. There's no one behind me." So he had me get out of the car. He was like, "Get out of the car, sir." And this whole time, Sayla is in the back of the car crying because she was like only a few months old, and she's just screaming. And we're in the middle of nowhere, like, and this cop's like, "Come back to my car." And he parked like 20 feet away from us, so I had to like walk all the way back there. And then I just stood by his window while he got in his car. He rolled the window down. He was just sitting there writing, and I just stood by his window, and he was just asking me these random questions like, "So where are you from?" And I was like, "I'm from Binghamton area, but we just moved to Vestal, blah, blah, blah. And then we don't live there anymore." But basically, he just kept asking me all these things, and then he sent me on my way. Not even a warning. He mentioned our muffler. He's like, "You should get a new muffler."
Yeah, they always have to have a reason why they pulled you over. Oh, it was a muffler. The muffler is what caused it.
I was like, I feel like that's just the classic. We don't have a reason. And my last story is bike cop. Have you ever been pulled over by one of those?
No, never.
This is the funniest thing. When I went to Indiana for the second or third time, because that's where Bethany's from, Indiana. You know, classic place. You've been there once.
Yeah, hate it. Anyways,
Indianapolis. So we were in the city, and I always wanted to drive around on one of those scooters.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, let's do it. So we bought them, and then we're just racing down the pavement, like not the road, but the sidewalks.
Yeah.
We're zooming like on.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, I look over, and this guy on a bicycle, he pulls me over. He's a cop on a bicycle in town, like in the city. And he's fat too. Like that's the funny part. Like they're like, "You need the bicycle, buddy. You don't deserve a car. You need to work some of that off." But he like pulled us over, and he said, "You need to be driving on the street, not on the pavement. This is or not on the sidewalk. This is a warning."
Yep.
Bike cop.
Yep. Dude, that's
Pretty exciting.
That's what I learned too, because we were same thing. Quinn and I were whipping around DC, just like zooming between people like it was nothing. I was having a blast, and then it comes to find out, oh, scooters are supposed to be on the road.
Did you get pulled over by a bike cop?
No, never.
Yep.
That's
I guess
embarrassing.
but I feel like that's scary though if you're driving one of those on the street.
I know, but they want you to do it. They want you to go with the flow of traffic. I'm like, they do not go fast enough to make that worth it.
Yeah, I was like, that's scary.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. All right, so we've talked about this. We briefed this. What's the difference between working so your corporate job at CVS? How does that compare?
What to what?
To where you work now?
It's the same. It's the same
thing. You hate it equally?
No, I wouldn't say that.
That's
I think
not the same.
no. I wouldn't go that far. CVS is a hellhole that will drain you and your family and drive you to terrible things. But no,
Okay.
now I think it's like
Noted.
Now I think it's like a good company. I don't know. There's just people within, that drive me bonkers. But CVS was 100% worth. It's like totally, like I said. I know that's where we're like gonna go with this. Is like talking about, small, like mom and pop compared to this. It's just like
Yeah.
I think the part that is crazy is just like the politics behind it. It's the politics you have to play.
Yeah, because there's more drama, I think, in where I work, because I mean, I'm sure there's drama where you work, but the mom and pop style shop where we work is very different.
I'm sure it's a little more like shoot from the hip, less rules involved, so people kind of can
and
get away with
that
doing what
causes
they want.
problems. Yeah, because of that, it causes problems. And I'm sure because of all the rules in corporate places, there's problems too.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's more, I don't know. It's very hard. It's something you have to experience, like work in retail for all of your life, like I'm used to. It's just like, I don't know. You just get used to it. You just accept that you're nothing but a peon beneath someone's heel, and you have to deal with the public for the rest of your life.
At least in the corporate sense, you know that. But in the mom and pop, they tell you you're important, but treat you like you're a peon.
Yeah.
So I think there's that difference. You know?
Yeah.
Have you ever worked outside of retail? Well, I guess technically what you're doing now isn't retail, but
it's more service based. But
yeah, you know what I'm saying though.
I guess my first job was I coached basketball for a summer, but that was not a real job. That we got paid like what, $200 a week.
That was like when I was a camp counselor.
Yeah, I got paid. So I basically got paid $350 a week. Did basically whatever I want. The kids worshipped me, and they let us.
As they do.
We stole so much clothing and so much from the snack shack. Like there were people. They had just had. It's a giant camp. Like you couldn't keep track of anyone.
Millions of kids.
There had to be like 400 plus kids, 500 plus kids there.
Huge.
Like, and it's one of like 20 camps. So they have just buckets of merchandise. And you better believe that if you know the owner, or you know like the kid of the owner who has a key to that place, they're taking you in there, you're loading up on shirts, you're leaving, then you're going to the dude, we used to go to the snack shack at like 11:30 at night, all sit inside there and just gouge on food.
That's crazy.
Sorry.
And you gouge food.
Yeah.
Yeah, back to Scratch.
Yeah.
The violence.
But no.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've really done outside of retail, but that was just one summer. I didn't love it.
Is that the only crime you've really committed?
No.
Stealing from?
Oh my gosh. No, I've committed a lot more than that. Stuff I don't want to talk about. That's embarrassing.
That reminds me, I wanted to mention this briefly. Do you remember those old videos or those commercials where like, you wouldn't steal a car? Don't pirate music.
Yeah, exactly.
And yep. I mean, I'm not going to say I pirated music, but I feel like when I went to school, you're kind of taught to pirate people's material that they work on. And the only difference is if you just credit them, you're good.
Listen, I pirated music. I pirated textbooks for school. If I could find it on a website in a PDF format, I am downloading that for free. And then you better believe. Actually, you know what? I don't want the IRS coming after me. But hypothetically speaking, possibly someone I knew did this. Is they would just pirate all the books
in a game,
and then in a video game, you'd pirate all the books, but then still keep receipts and claim it on your taxes in order to get the larger of the student credits.
What a douche, man! That guy should really go to jail.
I don't know if that much.
I don't know who that was. Yeah,
but
whoever he was. Yeah, let's be easy on that guy.
Yeah, anyway. Listen, a few extra $100 for that person is nothing in the grand scheme of things.
Exactly.
So.
But like, what's crazy is like in school we're taught to like pirate people's work. It's like
and then credit
cite their work, and then all you have to do is credit them. So I think if we pirate things, we should just credit them.
Did I ever tell you I got a?
I love this movie. It was written and directed by. Blah, blah, blah,
yeah,
blah.
Yeah. Put it in the comments. I
Great
do not
film.
Like on YouTube. Like I do not own this, but I do love it. Great work. Just upload it to YouTube. I
didn't pirate it. They did. I'm just watching it.
I actually got a cease and desist at my parents' house. Ever tell you about that?
What do you mean?
Like it. a cease and desist saying, hello, this is a cease and desist from this company because you pirated music from us.
What?
I wasn't using a VPN. I didn't think it was a big deal. So I was using like the Pirate
They
Bay.
found you.
Yeah, and sure enough, they sent
found
it.
you.
My dad's like, "What is this?"
Oh, I don't know, Dad. Give me that.
I
You're
was
old.
like,
You're an old man.
I told him, I said, I pirated something. I will not do that anymore.
Good.
So
Is he the kind of dad to just be like, "Good, I'm glad you learned your lesson," or would he actually like question you and hit you? Or,
no,
you know?
okay, well, no,
That guy, not hit you, you know.
no,
in a game.
What is the word? The dichotomy of my parents would be, my mother would just be very sad and just like cry because she was so disappointed, and that was heartbreaking. My dad would be like, just go like this and be like, "You understand now. You learned your lesson, didn't you?" And I'd be like,
then you would cry
exactly. Oh yeah, I failed class in college. I basically almost failed the whole semester.
Didn't you mention that? I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was
because you were like overworked, right? Or you're just lazy and didn't think that's what you wanted to do?
I was doing it in high school, so it wasn't a big deal. But
yeah,
I was kind of like, I don't want to do this right now. It was like public speaking class, math, a bunch of stupid stuff.
Was that during a bad relationship too, or is that part of that?
Was it? Yeah, it was also part of that.
Because I feel like that kind of ties in.
Yeah, definitely.
It's more draining than you think.
Yeah. But I just basically did none of the work, and then all the due dates came up at the end, and I go, "Mother," and she's like, "Yeah." I go, "I am going to fail all of my classes."
You just straight up told her.
Yeah, and
before
she
it
just
happens.
immediately
You
started
need to know.
She just started bawling her eyes out, crying. Yeah, she was so sad, and I was just
Did
like,
she pay for it?
No, it was free. It was free classes. Who cares?
Well, then what's the big deal?
Because my parents expect perfection from me.
But I was the chosen one.
Yeah, you were the chosen one. No,
you were the only male. You were the heir.
My dad didn't really care though. He was kind of like, he was like,
expects you to work.
Yeah,
at
he
his
was
business.
like, next time, and I was like, yeah, it'll never happen again. And then
Pops.
I dropped out of my master's, so I showed him.
You taught him a lesson.
Yeah.
Wait, you never got a master's?
No, I quit like the last year.
For some reason, I've thought all this time you got a master's, and I thought you were better than me.
Whew. No,
I still have Scratch on you. So.
No, it was the middle of COVID at CVS, and it was like I just felt like so overwhelmed. I mean, even now I'm in a terrible relationship.
I do remember that now.
And
yeah.
the relationship
now that the door's
I'm in is pretty rough. Yeah, she can't hear me.
In a game.
Yeah, in a game, someone else. And then like with COVID going on, working retail during COVID, like trying to do all that, I was like, I can't.
Not good.
I can't work 50 hours a week, plus be in a relationship, plus do a master's program. So I dropped the master's, and it cost me $17,000.
Doesn't it blow your mind how expensive it is to just read a book with someone overseeing you?
And I'd get A's in classes without putting any real effort in. I would just copy and paste, like genuinely just, they'd say, okay, you're doing the classes online, so here's a quiz. Okay, thank you. Copy and paste the questions into like Quizzle or Quizlet and be like, what are my answers? And then they said, that's good enough.
You know those graphs where it's like, kind of go like this?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I forget what those are called. For the audio people, it's an X. Those graphs. Picture that.
Imagine
you know
X.
where it's like, picture an X intersecting, and then so you know how people say you need to go to college to do well. I feel like that's one of the lines, but then also just getting a job and working hard and learning on the job, that's another line. So it's like, at what point does one pass the other? Because I feel like you can only do so much school.
You should do a TED Talk.
What do you mean?
Just the way you're like,
how clear
like,
that was.
Look at the X.
Yeah. I'm gonna start. This is
I mean,
my
come on.
Platform.
Well, okay, don't even get me started on that because it's gonna get political again. But I mean, do you have federally backed student loans? Like, are you getting the $10,000 relief?
Yes.
You are. So you're also a bad person who just likes handouts.
I hope so. I really hope I'm one of those people, because then the government will tax me on that somehow. That'll be trouble.
But Same thing with that. It's just
I'm
like,
gonna be a baller and say no. Screw you, Biden.
yeah, I don't
I don't
want it.
accept
But
handouts.
even with that, it's kind of like, I feel what a lot of people that aren't our age don't understand is you are expected to go to college now.
Yep.
Like, that's just what you do. No matter what you think, if you, like, your parents, it's just the expectation. You're going to college because you need a degree to be successful, which I don't believe is true. But guess what? I mean, $50,000 of debt later, and I'm like, oh, was this a good decision?
Yeah. Dude, I feel the same way because, like, I remember being so stressed out about what I wanted to do with my life, and I had no idea what my life was.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
be real. I mean, all I knew was, like, high school, like, my church, like, little things, and I had no idea what I was good at, really. You know, and, like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, what's going to please the parents? Let's go be a pastor. You know, like, that's kind of my, and, like, looking back on that, I don't regret what I did, per se, because I met my wife. But if I knew I would have met Bethany, I wouldn't have done it again. 100%. 100%. Like,
Well,
because it was just, I could have learned that on YouTube. The
yeah.
stuff I did,
Yeah.
honestly. Like, the stuff that we learned about, it's like we were just given books. We had to study it. We had to do a few sermons. I mean, the college life was fun, like meeting people and doing stuff, but like, it was it 35,000 in debt fun? I don't think so. You know what I mean though? Like,
well, the way I
then
feel,
am I any better off?
I feel like I genuinely did learn a lot, like, I understand leadership and management better. But the problem that I really struggle with is I've been promoted through the ranks at one company, transferred to another company, and not once has anyone at either of those companies asked to see my degree or even brought it up.
You're offended.
I am. I'm like,
just ask me.
Exactly. They never say.
Did I get an A?
They never. No one's ever asked for a degree. No one ever has asked for proof. Nothing. Never even talked about it. So I'm like, do I not need a degree? Like, do these people genuinely not care? So yeah, that's where I land on it.
Yeah, because I guess I think it's wrong to say I didn't learn as much as I could, because I still think it's a different learning environment, right? Being at college. And you didn't live on campus or anything, right? You
All
kind of did
online.
online.
Yep.
Okay. So you never got like the student debt experience
What do you
to
mean?
that extent, like living on campus, paying for food,
paying for
room,
yeah.
paying, meeting people. I don't know. It was like, that was cool, and I still have some friends because of that. But I mean, I think you're my only friend, really, because I have like one or two from college I'll still talk with once in a while, but not to the extent that we still talk from childhood.
You're not making a podcast with them.
Yeah, I don't think they're podcast worthy.
Can you
know?
Can you remember when our friendship started?
I
mean, I know the experience. I
think
always say I can remember. It was like VBS is the first time I saw you, but I don't know how old we
Vacation Bible
were.
School.
Yeah,
Classic.
explain.
Classic.
I don't know how old we were. What was that?
I remember your head was disproportionate to your body. I remember that.
I hate you so much.
I was like, he has a big head.
I did.
And then you're like, he's a skinny frick.
I was like, this guy is so
ugly.
tiny.
He's poor.
My mom had to explain to me what malnourishment was. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Hey, let me show you the Holocaust. Show you some pictures.
Yeah, just so I fits right in with
Which didn't happen, but no, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
No.
Anyways.
Anyway.
But no, when was that?
How did we meet? I know it was church, and I know we did Vacation Bible School, but I feel like it was earlier that we met.
I feel
I
like
don't think we really became friends till a little later.
So
One of my earliest memories are when we did the Awana games. I remember that.
Yeah, we were friends by that point though.
Yeah, we were good friends then. But before that, I'm trying to remember. I wish I could remember, but like I remember we had the one kid come over to your house, and he just wanted to play games all day. And
so we were already friends
outside
by then, and I don't even know how old we were then.
That's a long time ago.
I feel like the way my logic is, I started playing basketball when I was 10, but I was already going to West Windsor by that point. And if I was already going there, I already knew you. So that means we've been friends for at least 12 years.
That's crazy.
which is a crazy thought. We've been friends longer than we've not.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Isn't that
That's
crazy
really
to
cool.
think?
Yeah, and like honestly, I'm happy with one friend. Like I have like work friends and stuff, but like I don't want to like go home and hang out with them.
Yeah.
You know,
And I
I
think
don't
the
want to
other
be like, let's hang out.
the crazy part too is I feel like a lot of people, like, once they hit high school age is when they, or once they hit like past high school, like college, is when they start growing apart. But we like, we're complete opposite. Like we were
Yeah.
friends. Like I genuinely feel like we were close friends growing up. But there were definitely, like you said, times where we just were like somewhat apart, somewhat close, and then you were in college, I wasn't yet. We didn't really talk too much, and then just all of a sudden one day it was like, hello, we will see each other all the time now. And it's been like that for
Yeah,
like 3 years.
Yeah, when you were in that bad relationship, we stopped hanging out.
Yeah.
I remember that.
For no
and that
reason
wasn't just 'cause
either.
of you. It was kind of me too. You know,
just
'cause
both were busy.
kind of went our own ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you came out of that and you were like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
the wolves lifted off my eyes.
Yeah, just remember that
And then
I
you
was...
came down and we played Smash Bros on your Switch.
Yeah, I don't know if you
Remember
remember,
that?
but our friendship would not be the way it is today if it wasn't for me reconnecting with you. You're welcome.
Yeah, I think you really brought us together.
I know. I just remember I was like, I have
You're
a
a
Switch.
matchmaker.
Yeah, it was when the Switch came out, right? Right around that time, I was
Yeah.
like, I have a Switch. There's Super Smash on it. I'll come down to college and we can play. And you're like, okay. And then we
You
went
just
to like...
came to my dorm and we just
Yep.
played. And you're like, they make you clean your room? That's stupid.
Yeah, I was like, you have to clean your own room and they're going to check up on you constantly? You're like, yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. Yes.
Yeah.
That's crazy. We've been friends a long time.
Too long, I'd say.
Too long. Yeah, we got to have, like I said, a fallout sooner or later.
Eventually. I wanted to be over something good.
So here's another talking point. You ready?
Sure. I mean,
How
well,
are you with extended family?
oh my gosh. You do know we're at an hour, right?
We are? Holy
Yeah.
cow. Dude, we've been talking for an hour?
Yeah, it's gone. Just
Chump
like that.
change.
Chump change.
We're best friends, remember?
Want to keep going for a few minutes?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
I have some good talking points I want to cover.
How am I with extended family? Are you saying
Yeah.
like my side extended family, or are you saying like in-laws?
Probably just let's start extended family and then we can move to in-laws.
This is real bad. I can only name a few people outside of my direct family.
So it's not just me.
And the people that I can name, I don't know their relation to me. I don't know if they're cousins. It could be my uncle. They could be, I don't even know how I know them. But I know my parents will be like, oh my gosh, this happened. Isn't that crazy? I'm like, oh, it is. Is that my cousin? And they're like, yes, that's your cousin. My dad doesn't really have like a extended family, and my mom does, but we don't really talk to them too much. So I can't keep track of all that. So
Yeah.
What were you thinking though? I feel like you had a story off of this.
Yeah, I do, but I wanted to still
See if it was just you.
see. Yeah, well, because did you do a lot with extended family growing up?
My what would that be? I do know this one because this is the one I actually did hang out. My aunt, we used to do a lot of garage sales at her house. We'd hang out with. See, this is the other part where it's weird. We'd hang out with this girl, and I thought the girl was my cousin, but up until recently, I found out. I guess we're actually not related.
You could have been together and you didn't even know. Doing yard sales, hanging out.
I despise that idea, but
Really being, what do you call it? Economy of time. Like, gotta plan out the yard sale so we can hang out.
yeah, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
because was most of your family local then, or did you have a lot of family
No,
members
they
who
were-
are outside of the area?
no, they were local. I just didn't.
Yeah, because I think that was part of our problem. Because growing up, a lot of our family, we had a decent amount of it was close, but like also another part of it was like the bulk of it was far away. Like growing up, my aunt and uncles, they're from California, and then I had another aunt and uncle in Philadelphia.
You like that? Had to
Bright
turn on
light.
the light. Sorry.
Yeah.
Continue.
Ding! Bright light. But so like that was difficult. But something happened recently that I wanted to tell you about.
Oh no.
So this is what prompted this, and I wanted to see some history with your side. But so basically my mom and dad, they went to Philadelphia to hang out with my uncle because I guess he's not doing too well, like health wise.
Okay.
So that sucks. But I mean, it sucks.
Okay.
But like, and he was always like a good uncle. But I mean, he lived in Philadelphia, so we didn't really see him a lot. But growing up, I think he has 7 kids. I think, and they were all older than us.
Okay.
Like a decent amount. The youngest of them, I think, was like a year ahead of me. So it was like more like my older sister's age. But whenever we got together for 4th of July, you know, our giant 4th of July bashes we would have.
Yes. Yes.
Where we'd have like 100 people, 80 people, whatever. Bunch of people would come up. They would usually always come up. And me as a kid, desperately, like most kids, wanted to fit in. Right? Like you wanted to be a part of the cool kid group.
Yes.
And whenever my cousins would come in from the city, they always dressed cool. They always like seemed like they had good lives, you know, and like they always brought beer, which was not allowed, but my dad made exceptions because they were family. I was like, oh, they're so cool. They're so cool. I want to be like them. No, I just wanted to like hang out with them a little bit. So like I remember going up to them and talking to them, and then they would literally just walk away. I mean, if you've ever had younger cousins and stuff, like I get like it's kind of annoying. It kind of like kills the mood if you like a little cousin wants to hang out with you. But like they would just continue their conversation while walking away from me. They wouldn't even acknowledge me. And for years I was thinking, is this just in my head? Like am I the person who's hard to reach? Because that's kind of what I thought.
Yeah.
But turns out that they just suck as human beings because all of them are getting divorced.
Is this a happy story? Why are you smiling?
This is a great story. I'm so happy.
Oh
Like, is that bad? Like,
yes.
No, because like my sister was telling me, because I haven't heard the debrief from mom and dad yet how the trip went, but I guess they like went and saw them, so they kind of told them like a lot of them are getting divorced, they're fighting in court, blah blah blah. And I was like, all those years of them torturing me and not like reaching out to me trying to be the good guy, finally paid off.
So again, I know I already did this earlier, but I'm gonna zoom back, and look at this from an outsider's perspective. So because they didn't want to talk to their annoying younger cousin, you're happy their life's falling apart.
That is, I wouldn't word it that way, but okay, let me clarify. Because even when I got older, they just didn't want anything to do with us. Like it got to the point where they would come every year to our parties and then they just stopped coming. And it's not just because they hated us, but like, I mean, people get busy with their lives. But whenever I saw them, like I'd even when I was married, like I'd go up to them and be like, hey guys, how's it going? And they're like, it's pretty good. No. And I mean, maybe I'm awkward and kind of like revolting. I feel like I've gotten worse.
You feel like you've gotten worse.
Like it's gotten, I'm starting to become abrasive, but
you feel that. Wow.
I do, but I embrace it. I embrace the abrasiveness.
Okay.
I just feel like since I've been working like more in the world, I'm less like quiet, less caring.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Say things how they are.
I feel like
but anyway, the moral of the story, let's focus on that.
Yeah.
They deserved it. So I felt pretty good about that.
That's good.
I mean, I really hope it goes worse. So
wow.
We'll see.
I can't wait to clip this and then find their names and send it to them and be like, care to comment?
Send that. I want to hear. I never gave names, so I could be talking about anyone.
Oh, I know.
In a game, I hope they're like.
Yeah, in a game. Oh man, he played a guitar, right? He used to bring a guitar. Is that the one I'm thinking of, or no?
Yeah, he was cool. My uncle was awesome. Like he taught me a lot of like musical stuff, but his kids sucked. Kids sucked. They were mean to me. There was like one that was nice, but it wasn't enough. Too little, too late.
It wasn't enough.
I'm a psychopath, all right?
Yeah,
like it's true.
Yeah, so I learned a lot about you. You make nothing but like abusive, bloody games. You hope everyone's life falls apart around you. You hate cops. At one point, I'm pretty sure you said the Holocaust didn't happen, but.
So I'm a conservative. Is that what you're saying?
So I'm a conservative. Oh man.
Republican.
I'm proud of you.
Proud to be an American. But like 5 years ago, Josiah would have never said any of that.
I know.
Crazy,
I remember when he started becoming more abrasive. It started with you and your dad. He used to start being a little more like, I'm gonna tell him what I think. And I was like, no, don't do that. And you're like,
Don't do it.
You're like, I'm gonna go talk to him. I'm like,
Classic.
I'll never forget that day. That's for sure. But anyways, 1 hour, 10 minutes. 1
Dude,
hour,
I feel like I could keep going, but we don't want to just drag this out.
Yeah, my
We wanna
night
keep
is
it
more
short and
important.
sweet.
Yeah, my night is more important than this. So
Yeah, and that was a really good story to end it, I think.
yeah, I definitely think we should make that the highlight.
Yeah, that was definitely the highlight of the night.
Wow.
We'll see how long it takes to get canceled.
It'll be quick, actually.
It will. I think we should see how quick it can be. Make another podcast, see how fast it can get canceled.
There you go. All right,
What would be worse though, I think, is if you did that to be funny, but then you actually get a following of people who are just dirt
Yes.
and they just follow you to the ends of the earth.
Yeah, that's another thing I saw Ludwig talking about. It's like, I wonder how many clicks we are away from far right YouTube. It's like how long before like, oh, people see our video and then, oh, they click on this one, then they click on this one, then all of a sudden they're denying the Holocaust. You said the words. You said the words. So now.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But,
Holocaust was real. It happened.
But I'm good.
I think.
Oh my God, I'm good to call it on this. So if you are.
All right, man. Yeah. Well.
All
yeah.
right.
Well, we can still talk, obviously, but I will. You will end the stream.
Yes, you're right. All right. Let's see who's watching. My wife. Always coming through. Is your wife watching?
You know she's not.
Wow.
Remember,
Our relationship.
I told her, I asked her, and then she was like, "Have fun." It was too hard to make a profile, even though it's connected to your Amazon.
How does it feel your relationship is built on sand?
It's not that it's built on sand. Tents can be built anywhere.
It's gonna be built, and you're like, it is a shack.
Yeah. If a bear came out in our relationship, it would be only paper thin between me and the bear. It could kill us both.
Okay, ending it. Bye.
The bear could be alcoholism. It could be anything.